ready for the fight. From the court to the field, they shine so bold. With every move, the stories unfold. We're cheering on the youth from the start to the win. Giving them the mic, let their voices begin. Interviews and highlights, we got it all. GN Sports Show, where the young stand tall. GN Sports, where the youth lead the way. Champions of tomorrow, making waves today. From ages 5 and up, we help them grow. It's their time to shine on the GN Sports Show. GN Sports Show. GN Sports Show.
Good evening, viewers, and welcome to the third episode of Season 3 of the GN Sports Show. My name is Jonathan Thoroughgood, Administrative Assistant at GN Sports Global, and today we have a special episode. We won't just be in the studio, we'll be over at the St. Anthony Secondary School for coverage of the ACB Caribbean Youth League Awards ceremony, where we will be joined by my co-host, Terry Andrew. Make sure you stay tuned. We'll be right back. Our vision is to become the premier platform for showcasing and empowering young student athletes, providing them with the tools and exposure to excel both in sports and life, while shaping the next generation of confident, media-savvy leaders. The GN Sports Show is dedicated to highlighting the talent and stories of young student athletes across all sports disciplines. We aim to equip them with vital media exposure and public speaking skills, helping them grow into confident individuals both on and off the field. Through engaging interviews, mentorship, and real-world media experiences, we strive to foster personal and professional development that supports their athletic journeys.
Good morning once again. I have been given the job of being the Mistress of Ceremonies at this auspicious occasion, the closing ceremony of the ACB Youth Football League. Somebody asked me this morning, why are you here? Well, for those of you who don't know, I have a long-standing professional relationship with Generation Next, and it's always my pleasure to have Generation Next use the St. Anthony's football field to sponsor, host their league every year. Mr. Santos has proved, him and his team, over and over every year that the league that Generation Next puts on is of top quality. So I am happy to MC this morning. I would like to recognize some persons who are among us, who are very important, who foster I don't like to say perfect, the perfectness, if there's such a word, of this league. Without them, I know it wouldn't be possible. From ACB Caribbean, I'd like to recognize Marita Laurent, who is the Senior Manager, Marketing and Corporate Communications. Nadine McDavid Street, the Marketing Officer, Operations. Kia Edwards, who is the Carnival Queen contestant for ACB Caribbean, sponsored by them. And I will put a plug in here. Kia is also a past graduate of the St. Anthony Secondary School. And so we're gonna be supporting this carnival. Kia, all the very best to you. From Milo, A.S. Bryden, I'd like to recognize Francis Ann Atong, Bryden's Marketing and Communications Manager, and Trevor Singh, who is the Nestle Business Manager. From Citizenship by Investment Unit, we have Sherilyn Hughes Thomas, who is the Deputy CEO of CIU. From Generation Next FC, we have, of course, the President, Mr. Ricky Santos, Treasurer and Antigua and Barbuda's Accountant General, Ickford Naya Roberts. We have from the administrative sector of Generation Next, we have Jonathan Thoroughgood. Jonathan is the administrative assistant and the league's administrator, And I'm so proud to tell you he's also a graduate of St. Anthony's Secondary School. And we have a new addition, another graduate in the person of GNPCA Andrew. Welcome, Jaden. So, young people, you have done great things over the last few weeks. Welcome. Parents, they couldn't do it without your support. Welcome. And to everybody else, friends, everybody who's made this league what it has been, from where I stand, a definite major success, and we look forward to next year. So, now that you've welcomed warmly and there's a nice breeze, I would like to invite Ickford Nair Roberts to the podium for some brief remarks.
Thank you, Master of Ceremony. Once it comes to Generation Next Football Club, you are a staple, so you ain't going nowhere. Good morning, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome you all to this special occasion, the culmination of an incredible 11th season of the ACB Youth Football League. Today, we celebrate more than goals and trophies. We celebrate discipline, teamwork, resilience, and the incredible growth of every young player who took the field this season. None of this would be possible without the invaluable support of our sponsors. To our title sponsor, ACB Caribbean, thank you for believing in the power of sports to transform lives, especially our youths. To our gold sponsor, AS Violence, proud agents for Milo, we appreciate your continued commitment to energizing and uplifting our young footballers. To our silver sponsor, the Citizen by Investment Unit, your partnership is helping to build a stronger foundation for our youth development. Also, a heartfelt thank you also goes out to Mrs. Joanne Wallace-Callias, Principal of St. Anthony's Secondary School, for so graciously hosting this event. Your support of Youth Initiative is deeply appreciated. A very special recognition must be given to Generation Next Football Club's Administrative Assistant, Jonathan Thoroughgood, whose tireless and diligent management behind the scenes ensure that this league runs smoothly from start to finish. Your dedication has not gone unnoticed, and we thank you sincerely. To all of our players, win or lose, you are all part of something bigger than the game. Keep pushing, keep going, and remember that the skills and values you have built here will serve you for life. Congratulations to all our teams, coaches, and award winners. Continue to play with heart. We look forward to seeing you next season, bigger, stronger, and even more passionate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naya. And now I'd like to welcome Richard Santos, Ricky, Uncle Ricky, Coach Ricky, to start the awards presentation.
Thank you all for coming. And thank all of our lovely guests for all their support. Next year, just to give you a little insight, next year's league will be rebranded. It'll be called the ACB Caribbean Junior Premier League. The reason for that is that we have established a partnership with the Junior Premier League out of the UK, and they also operate leagues in Canada, the United States, Dubai, Oman, and soon to be in China and the UAE. So that partnership will afford our exposure into those leagues also, that we can send individual players to play with teams in that league, or we can send teams to play in all the leagues they operate throughout. But more on that will follow soon, just to give you a little heads up on that. I would like to take this opportunity to also commend our newly formed Generation X Parents and Coaches Association for their diligent work throughout the league. And they raised some significant funds, and we're hoping that we'll be able to send, in addition to the 5 girls that we sent up to the UK at Brookhouse, we're sending five boys and 1 girl off in the middle of June for another week's trials and training, and that will be at Ackworth. The 1 girl will be going to Brookhouse. And this is of course thanks to the Calvinia Foundation also for putting that event on. So our parents and coaches group, thank you to our president, Samoya Kirby, our vice president, Vincent Nabu Samuels, and our treasurer, Amy Lake. Amongst them, all the parents that have supported, donated, aided in the sales of the merchandise, thank you. Now, of course, what you all been waiting for. Individual awards first, and then after we've run through all the divisions, we'll be giving out the team trophies, first, second, and third place, along with medals. So we'll start with the under 7s. Best goalkeeper, Jabari Roberts. I'd like to call to the stage now the best defender in the under 7 division, Avonte King. Best midfielder, Crom James. The Golden Boots Award, which goes to Dwayne Fenton of Priggats. Dwayne is not here. Dwayne could be accepted in the DR. In the under 9s, Marley from Priggats was the best goalkeeper. Best defender, Kyrese Richards of Priggats. Best midfielder, Devon Henderson of Priggats. Golden Boots, Javin Maynard of Mount Pleasant. In the under 11 division, best goalkeeper, Jalik Sargent of Generation X. Best defender, Dekai Hudson. Best midfielder, Lamar Thomas. And the Golden Boots, Yowen Benjamin of Empire. Best goalkeeper, Pedro Phillip of Piggotts. Best midfielder, Chase Garner. And the Golden Boots goes to Devon Henderson in the under 15. Best goalkeeper, Mikai Phillip of Mount Pleasant. Best defender, Hakeem Musa. Best midfielder, Ethan Camacho. And the Golden Boots goes to Tahai Wright of Mount Pleasant. In the under 17 division, best goalkeeper, Ricardo Phillip of New Evolution. Best defender, Marlon Peters of New Evolution. Best midfielder, Jamarian Edwards of New Evolution. Kia Edwards, sorry. The Queen contestant sponsored by ACB Caribbean. And that goes to, the Golden Boot goes to Sadiq Adams of New Evolution. We go into the team awards. In third place, in the under 7 division, Generation Next FC B, BG, third place. In the under 7 division, in second place, Figures, Bullets. And the champions for the under 7 division, Generation Next FC A team. In the under 9 division, in third place, Generation Next. In second place, in the under 9 division, Mount Pleasant Football Club. And in first place in the under 9 division, Figures Bullets. We now go to the under 11 division. In third place in the under 11, Figures Bullets. In second place, Empire Football Club. And the champions in the under 11, Generation Next. In the under 13 division, in third place, Villa Lions. In second place, Generation Next. And in first place, the champions for the under 13, Bigots Bullets. In the under 15s, in third place, Bigots Bullets. In the under 15s, in second place, Generation Next. And the champions in the under 15 Mount Pleasant Football Club. In the under 17 division, in third place, Five Islands. In second place, Wings Football Club. And the champions in the under 17, New Evolution.
And welcome back to the GN Sports Show. This is our special segment of the show. We are doing interviews with our sponsors of the ACB Caribbean Youth League. We have our special sponsor here from the ACB Caribbean, Miss Marita Laurent. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks. Great to be here.
Just to start off, as the title sponsor of the ACB Caribbean Youth Football League, what inspired ACB Caribbean to support grassroots football in the region?
Well, this particular sponsorship is Antigua and Barbuda.
Yes.
So we are involved here, I think primarily because of the reach of it. You know, it touches every corner of Antigua, and we felt that it's in line with us keeping youth engaged in doing positive things. Healthy lifestyle, something to occupy their time to help build discipline and life skills that will go on beyond the football field.
Exactly. And how has this sponsorship aligned with ACB Caribbean's broader goals for youth and community development?
So we do a lot of initiatives that are pretty heavy on the education side. We have scholarship programs at 2 levels in Antigua and Barbuda and at the tertiary level in Grenada. So, you know, we are involved in parish league cricket. Okay. So we felt that this was a good way to actually sponsor a league, because we are involved with 2 teams, Mount Pleasant and Five Islands football clubs. And we felt that actually getting involved in the league to give support, to have a structured competitive environment for all of them to show their skills was the right thing to do. So that's why we jumped on board.
And we are very appreciative of the jumping on board with the sponsorship from ACB Caribbean.
You're welcome.
And lastly, what impact have you seen so far from your partnership with the league? And are there plans for continued or expanded support in the future?
Well, it's early still. We came into this, as you guys know, it was not planned, but the opportunity arose and we took it. For me, I think that we can continue to build on this partnership. You know, just, you know, watching the games, watching the prize giving here today, there are little ways we can help you guys to, you know, be engaging and just, you know, continue to build that camaraderie and spirit. So it's a conversation that we need to have where we can talk about learnings from this particular edition of the league and then how we can apply those moving forward. You know, as a sponsor, we're here to listen to you. You guys are the experts in putting on the tournaments and so on, you know, and for us it's from a branding perspective, it's from a creating a better experience perspective, and then just overall community involvement. So as you saw today, we bought Miss ACB Caribbean because we felt it would be nice for her to actually engage with the community, and, you know, so just things like that to help build interest and fun throughout the duration of the tournament.
Okay, and again, on behalf of Generation Next, we'd like to thank you so much, ACB Caribbean, for being the platinum sponsor of the ACB Caribbean Youth Football League.
You
Marita,
are welcome.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Thank you again.
Awesome.
And we'll be right back.
All right, we're still here at the closing ceremony of the Generation Next tournament, ACB Caribbean Generation Next tournament. And another sponsor of this tournament is the Citizenship and Investment Unit here in Antigua and Barbuda. And here to chit-chat with us for a bit is Sherilyn Hughes Thomas. She's the Deputy CEO of the CIU. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for chatting with me, Terry. How are you?
Yeah, so they had you doing some exercises.
Yes.
Back So you're already warm. You don't need to be warm anymore.
I certainly am.
All right, CIU's role in the development of youth sports. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Sure. So the program itself is developmentally based, and we have a history of supporting various clubs. We've been doing that over the years, football clubs, basketball initiatives, and that sort of thing. And when we were approached to be a part of this particular event, we were happy to do so, to lend our sponsorship, because what it does is it adds to all the opportunities for young people to truly put their talents on show, and the opportunities that come after that, once we're able to see how well they perform on the field, once we twin that with their other competencies, then we know that we're helping them to move on a path for greater success. So we were happy to support this league and to be a part of it.
Okay, and getting involved as a silver sponsorship means what to you guys?
What it means is that we are touching the most young, we are touching the future at the same time. So we are present in this moment, but what we're doing is building legacy for the future. So that's what's important.
Yeah, and that leads me to my third question. Long-term vision, a long-term vision for CIU, and of course for having children. I mean, being a part of it, knowing what CIU is from an early age.
Right. So this just fits into all of the work we do in community from our unit. We are strong supporters of schools, their initiative. We've over the years provided school accessories. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago when it got ridiculously hot, there were about 10 schools that we outfitted with fans. So we have that kind of relationship in terms of education and touching the youth. And what we were doing here and what we hope to do as we go forward with this alliance is to ensure that what we're doing is giving opportunity to young people. As I said before, we are here in the present now doing this, but this is really about what's going to happen in the future. This is about giving them opportunity, putting them on show, and partnering with institutions that have that structure to ensure that it's not a hit and miss, but this is a programmatic approach to our children's development.
Yeah, so I'm sure, and this is your first year with the ACB Caribbean Football League.
Yes.
I know this will not be our last year.
It will not be. It won't be our last year, and so it was important for us to be even here this morning to see the young people. We've been at some of the matches, and so we hope to be able to continue this partnership.
Awesome stuff. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, you heard her.
And we are back with the GN Sports Show. We are here with our gold sponsor, Mr. Singh, for Nestle's Milo. Good afternoon, Mr. Singh. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. I'm good.
Just to get straight into it, Mr. Singh, you're the gold sponsor of the league for the ACB Caribbean Youth Football League. Milo has a strong global identity connected to youth sports. What motivated AS Bridens to sponsor the ACB Caribbean Youth Football League?
One of the things that we look at, because Milo is associated with sports, right? And sports of all different kinds, cricket and more so in Antigua football. And football is very big in Antigua right now, above cricket. So, and then after being approached, and we decided to go ahead with it, because we think that the message of Milo could reach every child from 7 years up.
Yes. And speaking of that, we just spoke about the message of Milo, which is energy for champions. How does that resonate with the young athletes participating in the league?
Well, it is very exciting to see a lot of youngsters, especially when it comes to the grounds where the matches are being played, and so many youngsters are involved in playing football.
Yeah. We have a lot of youngsters involved here. We have under 7s all the way up to under 17s, and we have about 10 or 11 teams per age group.
Yeah,
so we had a good amount of children participating.
What I also was told that there are more teams this year participating.
Yes, they are. We have
which shows you that it's growing every single year.
Every year, of course. And lastly, are there any other community or youth initiatives that AS Bridens is involved in that complement your support of this league?
No, not really. Not really. But we would like to be part of doing more.
Of course.
Because our company is a big company, and we have many different brands that we handle, right? But of course, Nestle, which is our biggest, we want to push that over and over and over with Milo.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And again, Mr. Singh, thank you again on behalf of Generation X for being the gold sponsor of the ACB Caribbean Youth Football League. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you
again,
very
Mr.
much,
Singh.
man. Good, right.
We'll be right back.
Sports Show.
All right, head coach of Mount Pleasant FC, Donovan Perth, has joined us. We're still at the closing ceremony here at the ACB Caribbean Football League. Now, Mount Pleasant was successful in the under 15 division, and I think they came second place, runners up in the under 9. Now, let's talk to Donovan. Donovan, just your thoughts, Mount Pleasant participating in the ACB Caribbean Football League, from the wee young to the older boys.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me again today. It's a joy. To tell you the truth, our boys never get the chance to play football for such a long time. In terms of, we'll go for months and not having a game, like a little practice game, maybe once every 2 months and stuff like that. And to see our boys prepare every Saturday to join this league, it's so important for me. It's about development, and I'm seeing this all over the age group with every single academy here. So for me, it's fun. My academy, a while ago, everybody wanted to be here for the ceremony, but you know, but it's really fun to have these guys out here playing. But the growth of all the kids within this tournament is what interests me the most. You know, kudos to all the teams that play. I'm happy for my group, Mount Pleasant, under 15 and under 9. But more overall, I saw the growth with 11 and 7. So it's, you know, the coaches, you have to give kudos to the coaches and, you know, the organizers. So
yeah, and another thing for Mount Pleasant, Mount Pleasant seems to be all inclusive, because there's a deaf player in one of your on 11 or 11.
Yeah.
Just talk about that, having him around and what it's like even putting him into football or getting him involved in football.
So his name is Yukin. Beautiful player. Have such love for everybody. When he first joined, I had problems with majority of the parents that was in that age group, because all of the parents coming to me to tell me, look, what am I going to do? All of my sons coming to me to tell you that they want to learn sign language to able to communicate with Yukin, because he's such a good player, he's such a fun-loving player, and you know, it's a challenge to able to remember when he's on the field to call him and stuff like that. But you know what we did? We used players that is close to him to inform him, and right then and there, communication within the group goes sky high. Oh, everybody started to talk a little bit more, you know, touch Yukim, tell him, and you know, he's so interested in playing this football. So we're for everybody.
Yeah, and the overall goal of Mount Pleasant now, I'm sure you want to talk about that.
Yes, development, of course. But why all this come about? Because I was with North Coast Academy before. But when we finished, why this all come about? There was a lot of crime, a lot of violence all over the schools with youngsters. And I tell myself, you know what? Let me find a way to get these kids off the street. Let's give them a safe place to come and play. So that was the goal, right? The future for me is to see kids playing for the national team, getting scholarships to go away. You know, but managing sports and education for me is important. So the goal is not just a straight path, but there's a lot of obstacles that we have to cross, but there's ways to get to it, and Mount Pleasant is getting there.
Awesome. Well, keep up the good work, Donovan. Donovan Perth, the head coach of Mount Pleasant FC.
Thanks,
we'll be right back with more. All right, so we're here with the future of Empire Football Club. Of course, Empire, the most winning football club in the country, the most successful football club in Antigua and Barbuda. And we're here with some of the youngsters and, of course, the treasurer, Kenyatta Greenaway, a part of the Empire Football Club. Well, they placed second place in the under 11 division here at the ACB Caribbean Football League. And just to have a little chat with Kenyatta Greenaway. Kenyatta, just your thoughts having the youngsters participate in this league?
But it's always a good thing to get the youngsters exposed as early as possible. You know, it's unfortunate that we didn't get the last couple of points, the last game, that we could have secured the championship. But it's always a process. It's always a process. And the fact that they're here, and they came second, it simply means that by next, they will know where they fell short this season, so that next season they know how to pull up their socks and make a better go at the championship.
Yeah, the head coach, Akeem Grant, he could not be here with us today, but he has worked with them from an early age, even now on with the younger sides. Having him in the setup does what for these youngsters?
Well, he has been, with them from, the beginning of the season. He has been doing the training with them. He has been, choosing the positions for the players and all that. So he has been an integral part for the team. It's unfortunate that he's not here to really say his piece concerning, his journey for the season. But, it simply means that it's not all bad, even though we're second, because it's just one spot away from championship. So we did a good job.
All right, keeping them in competitions like this does what for them?
Well, it keeps them sharp. It keeps them progressive. They have to sharpen their saw in the sense that sharpen their skills, know what they're supposed to do, how much better they can be, and stuff like that. And if they continue in that trend, they should just be better players as time goes by.
All right. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, youngsters.
Thank you.
Kenyatta Gunaway, the treasurer of the Empire Football Club, and the runners-up finishers on the 11th division of the ACB Caribbean Football League. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, well, we're back here at the closing ceremony of the ACB Caribbean Football League, and champions, Cheryl, the champion coach of the under-17 division, New Evolution, Shakimba Williams, better known as Yaya, of course. Yaya, just your thoughts. You continue to dominate this division, the under-17 division. Why?
Well, I have to give the players the credit because I think they come to training and put in the work. Every day that I call training, the numbers has been fantastic, and they follow instruction well. So I give all the credit to the players. Without them, it wouldn't be possible.
All right, you're known for working with the youths. I mean, just speak about that. I mean, what you get from that and what you try to impart on the youth, on the younger footballers.
Well, I personally came from the ghetto, right, and I have been helped a lot by other folks, and this for me is like giving back to the youth by helping them develop to reach the next stage of their life, whether it's professional or college. I'm just here trying to pave the pathway for them.
Nice. And you say this is not the first time you win in the under-17 division. Is like a progress to the under-17? Like you'll work with the 15s, the 16s, and until they get to 17s. Is it like a progress like that for you, that you know that you're going to have a strong under-17 team?
Yeah. What happened? I actually started out here with under-7, the Generation X. I probably coached for 5 to 6 years in under-7, which I dominated as well. And then I graduated to the under-13 here, Generation X, in which I have a few first place and a few second place. So it's a working process. So as I can say, going forward, I'm going to move to the under-20. Hopefully I get a shot at the national under-20 soon, or under-17 or under-15 to pick up those players.
Well, yeah, all the best. Thank you. Shakimba Williams, the head coach of New Evolution FC, the champions of the ACB Caribbean Football League on the 17th division.
So basically, the Generation X Parents and Coaches Association, newly formed, we're very happy to have been a part of the ACB Youth League. It was an honor and a privilege to be able to serve in our new capacities, in our new roles as members of this organization, and our main mantra is to assist the children wherever necessary in terms of their development in the sport and of course their social skills as well. We were able to raise some much needed funds to go towards an upcoming tournament that's happening in the UK in October for our boys, and we're extremely happy that we'll be able to continue to support the development of our youth going forward. Of course, it is our role, it is the expectation that we'll be able to continue to organize certain activities, different activities that will not only just raise funds but continue in the total socio-physical development of our footballers, and we're happy to assist in this regard.
Vincent Nabu Samuel. I am basically the vice president of the Generation X Coaches Parents Association. I was unanimously nominated by the coaches to take that role and to have that mantle as far as that is concerned. I understand what this is all about. The reality of it is the primary aim for us is to provide opportunities for coaches, opportunities for the players. As far as the running of the association at this point in time, it's pretty much a smooth running stuff at this point in time. The parents has been tremendously supportive of what is going on, because there's a level of accountability which now steps into the whole scenario, which is really good for any organization. The parents, through donations and the hard work of the coaches and the parents themselves to make this thing actually work. I am very impressed of what is going on at this point in time. I am really and truly happy that I also can make a contribution to what is going on.
We would like to thank the sponsors of Generation Next: Fruta, Antigua Masonry Products, Kenneth A. Gomez Insurance Agency, Island Photo, and Francis Trading Agency.
All right, we're back here with multiple sport athletes, well, dual sport athletes, I should say. Isaiah Jacobs and Lamar Thomas has joined me, and we're just gonna have a brief conversation about their exploits beyond the football field. Thank you guys, Lamar and Isaiah, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
All right, let's start with you, Lamar. Track and field or football?
Track and field.
Track and field, are you sure? All right, he like you anyway. Track and field or football?
Both.
Thank you. Atta boy. Okay, now Lamar, just your thoughts. How you enjoy the track?
I just.
You just go to do your thing?
Yeah, I don't really have an explanation.
Okay, what is your favorite event, or what are your events that you took part in?
The 100 meter, the 200 meter, and the mixed 4x1 relay.
The mixed 4x1 relay. Okay. Which one? Do you have a favorite?
The 200 meters.
200 meter, why?
I just like to run on the curve.
Atta boy. So you beat people all the time on the curve?
Mhm.
Yeah, the 200. So that's your favorite event, the 200.
Yeah.
You know Usain Bolt?
Mhm.
That's his favorite event as well, the 200. I don't think nobody in the world can ever beat him in the 200. But what about you? What's your favorite event?
100 meter and long jump.
I'm fascinated about the long jump part, brother. That's the one when you want to jump in the sand.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
What about that? You like flying in the air?
Yes.
Into the sand?
Yes.
I like that too. I like to see when they do it. So you like the long jump, why?
Yes. And 100 meter because you don't have to take a curve, because if you're in the first lane and you go a little bit too close, you might fall or just come off the track.
Okay, so you don't like to run in the curve. You like to run on the street.
Yes.
So when you catch them on the street, everybody dead, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You bang people like that?
Yes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's how it is. Okay. You guys, you were the MVP last weekend at the National Youth Championships.
Yes.
So you're beating people, and you're on the 9, and you won on the 11 division. So you're beating people even older than you. Talk about that for a bit. When you're out there competing, what is your mindset? How are you thinking? How are you feeling?
Nervous and excited.
Okay.
Because my heart's pounding.
Yeah?
Yes. Like dun 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 dun. And I would feel very scared, but then when I win, I would be excited and just.
Listen, all of us get scared. You get that butterflies, but you see when you start to do what you know, then it comes like natural, and you do it. And from what you're saying, that's what it sounds like. What about you? Do you get nervous as well?
Mhm.
Yeah,
lots of times.
Yeah, that's natural. That's a natural thing. But then when you get nervous, what do? You chicken out, or you go home? You run home and cry? You perform, right?
Yeah.
Yes. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about as young athletes. Now, where you see yourself in 5 years?
I would like to be faster.
Faster. Okay.
So if I be faster in track and field, I can maybe like do both sports at a time. So I can be good at track and football. And then the speed will help me in football so I could run past each other.
Good. Good. What about you? You want to be faster? I know you want to be faster.
Yes.
Because you just want to straight and you just want to just run.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trying to get a new record.
Okay. Yeah. What is your record in the 100 meter? You remember?
13.
13?
Yes.
That's pretty good. So you're going to be 12 next time? You're going to try and get the 12 second next time?
Yes.
Okay. That's a big dip though, but can you get faster?
Yes. Always can.
Always can?
Yes.
How about stronger? Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Always can. All right. What about football? What position you guys play in football? Lamar, start with you.
Right wing.
Right wing. You like to dribble people, and that comes with speed too.
Mhm.
On right wing. What about you?
Left back.
Left back. Good. Good. You can use your speed in football as well. You guys are good friends. You guys go to school. You guys are in grade 4.
Yes.
What about the friendship that helps you in football and track and field? Go ahead.
So, I have another friend called Kijan Henry.
Okay.
He's in my class. And they both motivated me to do the 200.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do it, but I still did it anyway.
You won?
Yes.
See? So you have good friends that are pushing you on to do things. What about you?
Isaiah and my other friend, Kijan Henry.
Yeah.
Kijan motivated me and Isaiah to run faster in the 100 meter and the 200 meters. But even though we weren't on the same team for the mixed relay,
Yeah.
I still thought that I was actually proud of him.
Yeah.
Both of them, because they came second and I came third.
Oh.
But I'm
Nice.
still proud.
Nice. See, you guys are young and you have someone that you can grow with. So when you guys compete with one another, who's the fastest?
But in spikes, him. But in regular shoes, and if he's in regular shoes, I'm faster.
Oh, so the spikes make you go faster?
Yes.
Okay.
Get grip on the tracks.
Oh. See, I'm learning stuff. I don't know anything about track and field. I only know football. So you guys are teaching me stuff. So the spikes help you go a little faster.
Yes.
And
And I think there's another type of spikes that you can go like on dirt.
On grass and stuff like that.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna look out for you guys' names. Lamar Thomas, Isaiah Jacobs.
Yes.
And I'm in news, so if you don't hear your name, I'm gonna be worried because you guys tell me you're gonna be good.
Yes.
All right, these are the dual athletes, football and track and field. But it seems like they lean into track and field a little bit more than football. But I've been talking to them. Listen, we're gonna be listening out for their names in the future. Hopefully, you hear their names too. Isaiah Jacobs, Lamar Thomas, Terry Andrew. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to the GN Sports Show. Today's episode of Health Play for Parents, where we bring expert advice to help your young athlete grow strong, healthy, and confident. I'm your host, Jonathan Thoroughgood, and today we have Dr. Rick, a clinical physiologist from the American University of Antigua College of Medicine. Dr. Rick, thank you for joining us and welcome back to Antigua.
Okay, I'm glad to be back, and it's good to see you again.
Of course.
And let's continue with this issue of the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes,
Remember? This
course.
has been our theme, our recurring theme. We did the good, bad, and ugly about carbohydrates in our diet. We did good, bad, and ugly about fats in our diet, proteins in our diet, because nothing is always good, you know?
Yep.
Too much of a good thing is bad.
It's bad
Did you
for
know
you.
that?
Exactly.
Too many calories, we get fat, right?
Yep.
So today we're going to do the good, bad, and ugly of body fat. I think the last time we did the good, bad, and ugly of a body muscle.
Body muscle is correct.
Okay, now let's do the good, bad, and ugly of body fat.
Body fat, all right. So parents often worry about their child's weight, which we were just discussing.
Yes.
What's the difference between weight and BMI, and which should they be focusing on?
Very good question. So the BMI stands for body mass index. Physicians usually record the body weight, and they take it to a growth chart to determine whether the person is within the range, the normal range for body weight based on their height and their age.
Okay.
Now, on an everyday basis, when we go on a scale and we look at our body weight, we can see whether we're gaining weight or losing weight.
Correct.
Some of that is water weight, and some of that is actual fat. And how do you know whether you have too much body fat or not?
Right.
Now you calculate the body mass index. The body mass index is the body weight divided by your height. Because two people of different heights could have the same body weight, but they would have different body mass index. So when the body mass index is high, it tells us that we're in a category that puts us at risk for, let's say, obesity. Or overweight.
Yeah.
Now, do parents need to do that? No. We don't really need to do that, but physicians need to do that because they need to put the patient in a category so they know what their risk is, so they can treat them properly. You see, to say, okay, we need to put you on a diet or we don't need to put you on a diet. Because body weight fluctuates a lot. Body mass index fluctuates much less because it's your body weight divided by your height. So I would say parents and individuals like us, we really don't have to worry too much about body mass index. Following it, following our body weight would be good enough.
Okay.
Up and down.
Right. And then what about body fat? Is that any sort of good? Is there good body fat? Is there bad body fat?
Yeah, well, there is good body fat and bad body fat. That's very good. So when we are infants, when we're born as infants, we have this a lot of brown body fat. It's called brown fat. And this is the brown fat that generates heat. So babies, you heard of babies, let's say being put out in the cold, and let's say a mother can't take care of the baby. She might be a drug addict or something, or she just doesn't have the funds, and she then puts this baby out at the police station or the fire station. You heard of that?
Yes.
And they expect somebody to get them. Well, in the United States, sometimes that happens in the cold, and these babies survive. Why do they survive? Because they have this brown body fat that protects them. Because their nervous system is not mature enough to handle the adjustments to changes in body temperature that adults have and children have. So when they're babies, they have a lot of this brown body fat. Well, as we get older, this brown body fat disappears. It turns into white body fat. It really is not white. We call it white, but it's actually yellow, yucky yellow body fat.
Yeah.
You know that yucky yellow body fat the fat that you eat when you eat a chicken fat?
Yeah,
it's
chicken
that
fat.
yucky yellow fat.
Yeah.
But they call it white. I guess they don't want to call it yucky yellow for some reason. I don't know. Well, the white fat does not have the ability to create a lot of heat. Okay? So it doesn't help insulate us very much.
Right.
It's the brown body fat that insulates us.
So the white would be
It helps
considered
us.
the bad body fat, and the brown would be considered the good.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
Now,
very
the white body fat is what builds up under our skin. But there is a good part of the white body fat. See, nothing is always good, and nothing is always bad. It's always some of this and some of that.
Yes.
What does the white body fat create that's good? You know?
No.
So the white body fat is what puts the weight on us. Right? I said you step on a scale, and now you see over a period of month you've gained 10 pounds. All right? That's usually going to be that white body fat.
Right.
But what is that white body fat doing? It's sending a signal to our brain as to what our energy balance is in our body. Think about it. Fat stores energy. Fat is energy stored.
Right.
Okay? So let's say when we wake up in the morning, we haven't eaten all night after an overnight fast.
Yes.
We've been sleeping, right? Our body's been breaking down that body fat to create energy. Remember what we call metabolic energy? It's called ATP.
ATP, yes.
That's right. That ATP, the battery juice of the cell. The battery juice of the cell is made from glucose, sugar, or fat mainly. So the fat gets broken down to create energy when we can't eat.
Wow.
Or when we're in a period of starvation. So this white body fat is sending a signal to our brain as to what is the energy balance of your body. And that signal is a hormone. The hormone is made by this white body fat. It's called leptin.
Leptin.
Leptin. Now, what does it's fascinating how this this white body fat can now help control our energy balance. Energy is coming from our food.
Right.
So to control our energy balance, it has to control our appetite, doesn't it?
Yes, of course.
So our appetite centers are in the part of the brain we call the hypothalamus. Leptin has receptors in the hypothalamus. So when we have a lot of body fat, there's more leptin made, our blood level of leptin increases, and that sends more signaling to the hypothalamus. And what do you think it tells us to do? To eat or not eat when we have more fat?
It would tell us not to eat because it feeds off of the fat.
It's what we call a satiety signal.
Yes.
So over long periods of time, your brain gets used to having a certain amount of leptin that tells us how much we should be eating. Now, what happens when you deplete your body fat? And you don't make as much leptin.
Right.
And then you don't get that signal, right, to stop eating.
Yes.
So it tells you to continue eating. And there's another hormone that takes over, not from the fat, from the stomach, called ghrelin, that tells you to eat. So this balance between these two hormones, and the main one is the one coming from the body fat, right? The white fat.
Yes.
The leptin is really giving us a signal as to how much we should be eating at any given time. In other words, are we hungry or are we not hungry? And by doing that, it's actually controlling the energy balance of our entire body.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting.
Now, you might ask, well, then how does somebody get overweight?
Right.
And how does somebody get fat? How do kids actually get fat? You know, there's an epidemic of obesity and overweight in children now.
Of course.
And mainly because of sugar. They're taking in too much sugar.
Yeah.
Well, what do you remember from our previous discussion of carbohydrate and sugar that sugar does? Do you remember that name of that hormone that is stimulated whenever we take in sugar, that is not stimulated when we take in fat or protein? Starts with an I. Insulin. I knew you got it. Okay. That's insulin.
Right.
Insulin causes us to accumulate more of this body fat. So the more carbohydrate you take in, the more fat you're going to deposit. We used to think, a lot of people think that, oh, you take in more fat and that's what makes you fat. No, you take in more carbohydrate and that makes you fat. Now, if you take in more fat, a large amount of fat in calories, way above what you need, yes, any additional calories will make you fat.
Right.
But the easiest way to get fat is to eat carbohydrate, to get that insulin signal to the brain that is going to then also send that same signal to the fat cells to tell you, take up that sugar and you're taking in too many calories, so let's convert it to fat and store it away. Well, why doesn't leptin stop it? Because when your leptin levels in your blood increase, when they're very high over long periods of time, your brain becomes insensitive to it. It's almost like addiction. In fact, it's the same principle of addiction. Why do people who are addicted to drugs, right, continue to take higher and higher doses of drugs? Because their body becomes what? Resistant, immune to it, resistant to it.
Yeah.
So people are becoming their leptin receptors in the hypothalamus of the brain, where these feeding centers are becoming what? Resistant
to what?
So they don't get the signal to stop eating, and they get the signal to continue to eat,
eating.
eat. You see? Now, when that happens, in a normal person, leptin signals another hormone called the thyroid hormone. You heard of the thyroid gland in your neck?
Yes, yes.
And that causes us to increase our metabolic rate to burn up those calories. But in a person who's overweight or obese, they also don't get that thyroid signal. You
because
see?
Of the obesity?
Yes, well, because the signal from the leptin that should stimulate the thyroid gland to make thyroid hormone to cause us to use up those calories, they're resistant to that too. Isn't that something? So you see, it's not simple.
The human body is incredible.
It is. It is. It is. It is. It is.
So I know we were speaking a little bit about fats. Are all fats created equally? Did we touch on that?
Yeah, well, we talked about dietary fat. Today we're talking about body fat.
Fats,
but
right.
dietary fat, no, there are different fats. So if you remember from the discussion before, we had saturated fat.
Yes.
Saturated fat is not good for us because it stimulates our liver to make a lot of cholesterol that builds up in our arteries, and that leads to this atherosclerosis or hardening of the arteries. It clogs up the arteries and gives people heart attacks. So the unsaturated, polyunsaturated fats and omega-3 fatty acids you talked about, those are better for you. Yes.
And what's the difference between subcutaneous and visceral fat?
No, visceral fat.
Visceral fat.
You're on the right track. Visceral fat. Visceral fat is the abdominal fat.
Okay.
Okay? So, this is very interesting. It turns out that women are shaped like apples or pears. Are women shaped like apples or pears? You
I would
tell
say
me.
more pear-shaped.
There you go. Women are more pear-shaped.
Yes.
You see? They have their fat in different place than men. Men have more belly fat.
Yes.
Belly fat is that visceral fat.
Okay.
Okay? Most of the fat in women is subcutaneous, not in their belly. Now, there is a way for even women to get a lot of belly fat. You know what that is? Stress. Stress creates a lot of belly fat.
Belly fat, yeah.
Now, why does stress create belly fat? Because it stimulates a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is our stress hormone. And that cortisol causes a redistribution of this fat. Okay? And the redistribution is to the belly. That's the visceral fat.
Visceral fat, right.
So, subcutaneous fat, the women are pears, the men are the bellies. Men have more susceptibility to heart attacks, don't they, than women?
Yes.
And why is that? Because when that fat builds up in the belly, that visceral fat, it tends to invade the heart when it gets too much. So the reason why God in her infinite wisdom put that fat in the belly, even women have some belly fat, is to make fat available to the internal organs for energy very quickly in an emergency. But when it gets too much, again, cortisol, stress, causes too much of it to accumulate. And then it makes you more susceptible to becoming an apple, right? Men are shaped like apples. They have the belly fat.
Of course.
And puts that fat in the internal organs near the heart, and the fat can actually start invading the heart, and it actually can get between the muscle layers and all kinds of stuff and, kind of disrupt the normal structure of the heart.
Which can cause heart disease.
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
Of course.
Wow. So earlier you mentioned a little bit about leptin, I think it was. You mentioned a little bit about it. How does that relate to hunger and feeling full?
Yeah, well, we just said that. Remember that we have body fat. That body fat is our signal to our brain to tell us how much we should be eating.
Yes.
And the leptin comes from that white body fat.
Okay.
And that's what's giving us the signal to what? You've taken enough calories.
Right, yeah.
You see? And over a long period of time, your body gets accustomed to getting that leptin signal. But when the leptin level of the blood goes too high, which means you have too much body fat, how do you know whether you have too much body fat? There is no one particular way. Obviously, you go to a growth chart,
yes,
or you measure your BMI,
yes.
determine it. But I have a very simple way. You know what I do?
What is that?
I take my belly and I pinch it here. And if I can pinch more than an inch, I got too much. But there is some truth to that. Yeah. Actually, it's an old adage that if you can pinch more than an inch, in your midsection, around your waist, you have too much. So think about it that way.
So earlier we were speaking a little bit about the fats and how it is to deal with children. Can a child have too little or too much body fat?
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Yes.
So it turns out that as a prelude to this, I'll give you a little story about not children, about adults. So it turns out that women who go into menopause, after they're past their childbearing years, they're about 45 they're in their 50s and 60s, right? They get this condition of osteoporosis where their bone density decreases. And studies have been shown that you can have your bone density decrease, and when that happens, you're more susceptible to falls. And then you have fractures.
Yes.
Now they looked at what women have more fractures and don't have fractures, even though they have equal amounts of osteoporosis. Turns out the women with more body fat have less fractures. Why? Because the body fat is acting as a cushion.
Yes.
So if a woman or anybody depletes their body fat, you don't have that cushion. So kids, even who have too little body fat, could be more susceptible when they fall during sports to having fractures and injuries. So you do need a little bit of body fat, right?
Yes, of course.
Then, when they get into puberty, they need a certain amount of body fat to produce the energy for making their reproductive hormones. Males and females, testosterone is the male hormone and estrogen is the female hormone. Well, when we are before we go into puberty, we say pre-puberty, our levels of the masculine hormone, testosterone and estrogen, are the same in males and females. But at puberty, estrogen goes up 10 times in the females, but their testosterone stays low. And in the males, it's just the opposite. The testosterone, the male hormone, goes up 10 times. You see?
Yeah.
So to make this hormone comes from cholesterol, and cholesterol is part of fat.
Fats, yes.
And so if any male or female, when they're in puberty, are too thin, they don't make enough sex hormone, and they don't go into puberty properly sometimes.
Right.
This is especially true in Olympic athletes like these gymnasts who have very little body fat.
Yes.
You see them?
Of course,
yeah,
yes.
they usually don't have menstrual cycles, those women.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can have too little body fat
much,
as well as too much body fat.
And what is the healthy range of body fat? Is there somewhere in between where we know, okay, this is the right amount of body fat that a child should have at this certain age?
Yes, but you have to know how to calculate it, or there are many ways that a doctor can determine it.
Okay.
But generally, for a male, 15 to 20% of body fat is good. For a female, a little bit more. 20 to 25% is normal, but it changes with age.
Yes.
So yes, there is a way, but we don't want to talk about it too much because it's very technical in terms of at different ages you might the normal value might be different.
Yes, of course, of course. So we're talking about the topic of body fats. What about fat shaming? Obviously, we've seen a lot of young kids who might be a little bit heavy or might be a little bit fat. What about fat shaming? Is that a big issue, you think?
Well, what do you think? Yes, of course it is. Yeah, of course it is. That we have the idea that somebody whose fat is unhealthy, and then that puts negative thoughts in the heads of the people who are around them.
Yes,
right?
Of course.
Like they have a lot of control over it. Well, some of it they have control over, but some of it is just metabolic.
Yes.
In other words, can somebody be fat, have too much body fat, a lot of body fat, and still be healthy? That's a good question. It's very difficult to answer because you have to answer that on a case-by-case basis. But there are people who have a lot of body fat, who are carrying around a lot of body fat, and that extra weight actually makes their muscles and their bones stronger because they're carrying that extra weight. Think about if you had weights on you all day and you were carrying those weights around there, you would actually be stronger.
Yes, of course.
So again, it's a case-by-case basis. Somebody could have a lot of body fat and be very strong.
Yes.
Because of that extra weight, and if their heart and cardiovascular system is okay, they could be very healthy.
Healthy as well.
But the extra body fat does put you at risk for certain diseases. For example, how do you get that body fat? We said a lot of insulin.
Yes.
Well, if you're eating so much to create that body fat, the insulin level goes up, you create that body fat, and you become resistant to the insulin. Now you have what disease? Type 2 diabetes, when you become insulin resistant to the insulin.
Right.
So you see how complicated it gets. And that's why you got to go see your physician, have discussion with your physician, and you have to do these things on a case-by-case basis. We can't give advice here about what people should be doing for a whole group of people. It's a case-by-case basis. Everybody's body is different, and you also have different genetic predispositions.
Some people might be big bone, some people might be
That's
small bone.
correct.
Yes, of course. Or some people might have high metabolism compared to a low metabolism.
There
as
you
well.
go.
Yes, of course. And are there any medication that affects a child's fat levels? I know we spoke a bit about facts. Are there any medications that would affect a child's fat levels?
So for example, when there's a epidemic also of psychological and psychiatric illness and emotional imbalance among children. And so a lot of children in the United States, I don't think this happens very much here, but I don't really know, get put on antidepressants. And antidepressants cause children to put on weight. In other words, they become resistant to that leptin signal because it's working on the brain.
Yes.
It involves another chemical known as serotonin.
Okay.
And that can cause them serotonin can stimulate your hunger and stimulate your eating behaviors, and you can take on too much weight. So there are a number of drugs that can cause you to put on
some weight. Yeah.
And so you have to be careful of that.
So off of everything that we spoke of today about body fat, especially with children, what's your biggest advice to parents concerned about their child's weight so far, or their fat?
Yeah, is to watch their body weight on a regular basis. You don't have to step on a scale every day, but every couple of weeks, see what, how much body weight they're putting on. And then when they go to the doctor, to check it with a growth chart to see whether they're in the normal range. That's the best thing. But the most important thing to maintain it is to control your physical activity, because it's the physical activity that's going to burn up the calories.
Right.
And to make sure you don't take in too much what? Carbohydrates. Too much of those simple carbohydrates, that junk food, right? That stimulates that insulin to force you to put on too much body weight. So have fun. Make sure your kids get regular physical activity every day, right?
Yep.
And probably the brain will take care of all this. In other words, we don't want to put in the heads of parents the idea that they have to watch this very carefully. If their child is growing normally and is happy and is active, their brain will take care of maintaining their body weight and their body fat stores.
Right.
But when they don't, when you see that you can pinch more than an inch, maybe 2 inches or 3 inches, even in a child's midsection, then it could be problematic. Then you have to start thinking about talking to a physician.
Yes, and working out your BMI and what.
Exactly.
Well, again, thank you so much for, I'm sure the parents have gotten a lot of tips from you in regards to the children working out their BMI and trying to keep them healthy. Thanks again, Dr. Rick.
Okay, see you again.
And with that, we've come to the end of our third episode of Season 3. Please make sure to stay tuned and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until the next time, GN Sports Show.
Interviews, insights, streams taking flight. We show them how to handle the spotlight, preparing them for the journey ahead, building confidence, the words left unsaid. From the grassroots to the national scene, young athletes chasing every dream. In every game there's a story to tell. GN Sports Show, we know them well. GN Sports, where the youth lead the way. Champions of tomorrow making waves today. From ages 5 and up we help them grow. It's their time to shine on the GN Sports Show. GN Sports Show. Interviews, news where the youth lead the way. Champions of tomorrow making waves today. From ages 5 and up we help them grow. It's their time to shine on the GN Sports Show.